Good afternoon, everybody. Buster Talent here. I'm here with Bill Cohen, Don Allison. This Front Porch Podcast recorded live every week at the Old Saltese store. Don, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Buster. Just a great day here at the store, and we have had all kinds of excitement today, ups and downs, so it's good. How are you, Bill?
I'm vertical still. I tell you, I have been running like crazy today. We've had a lot of people, just so much fun today at the store.
Every time I look inside the shop, you're either putting another quarter in that Nickelodeon or pouring another cider sample. Just
it's been that
court.
way. It's been that way all day. I've played maybe once out here because every time I started to get out here, every time I pick up my guitar, more guests come in, you know. So, and of course we're glad they're here. So, but it's been a really fun day.
Started off a little rocky, though. This morning we had storms that rolled through. In fact, we had to shut down for a while and batten down the hatches.
Not the store, just over here.
Just our outdoor activities, our music.
Because people were piling in the store.
Now, Don, you were saying off mic, you got a little bit scared because of the
I was in the silo, and lightning flashed and thunder rolled, and I thought I was in a microwave there for a second. The hair on the back of my head kind of stand up.
I don't think there's any left on the back.
I think it took it out of
I
smelled something burning for a while, but I don't want to be in there in a lot of heavy storms.
But the building was full of people, and people were coming in so fast I couldn't greet them. I mean, really, it was just all morning was just so busy. It's really kind of been that way all day, but of course the sun's shining now. But we had people in there, and when you started singing, we were out on the front porch, and the rain was coming down, but we played a little bit out there, and the people in the crowd were singing, drinking cider, eating cheese. I mean, people bought things in the store, and then were standing out here in the old part, eating their candy bars and eating their candy, their taffy and such that they bought while they were waiting for the storm to pass. But we really had a lot of fun. You know, stormy days are not necessarily bad days. It's certainly not here.
Ain't that the truth? Well, I guess y'all are putting out plenty of good vibes that the big man upstairs decided to bless us with a very beautiful afternoon.
He certainly did. He certainly did. And while I think about it, speaking of the podcast, which we're of course in the middle of right here, one man came in today and he said the reason he came in is he heard the podcast. And he'd heard about the store. He pulled us up, listened to a podcast, how much he enjoyed it. And he came in. Another guy came in, and he talked about, he had already knew about the podcast, but he really enjoyed the one with Joe and Debbie last week, and so telling about the old-time music. So already the podcast, I hope you all out there are enjoying it because it's a lot of fun for us to share what's going on here at the store.
Well, I'm just happy to know our off-mic producers are promoting us now.
Yeah, it's working well. You know, it's good. It's good. I tell people all the time that what the store probably was, not probably, no question, originally was a place to come get your goods. I understand that. But it was a place to connect with friends and family. How you been? I haven't seen you in a while. How's the family doing? That's exactly what goes on every day at the store. People come in and they visit and they get to know one another. We connect people that, like a family from Nashville comes in, another family from Nashville. Next thing, they're off talking to each other. And it happened today, again and again and again. We had people from Denmark today. We had people from Colombia, from Brazil, from Portugal, and Argentina. They're in the store now.
Fantastic.
Well, and you know, in spite of the weather, we have had a good crowd today. You know, it is Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm. It always gets busy up here this time of year.
Sort of the kickoff of the busy season. So,
Well, talking about Memorial Day weekend, do either one of y'all fellows have any friends or family that have passed away in wars or military service? Maybe we can give a moment to honor them.
I have a great uncle that died in World War II. He was a Navy pilot, and he wasn't on a mission, but they were flying back from a mission in a C-130, and the plane went down. The whole crew was lost and never found. His name was Sherman Dixon, and I never knew him, of course, because he was gone before I was born. But there's a very nice memorial statue and a memorial in the park in Cleveland that has not only his but others fallen in service of all the various wars and conflicts from White County, and his name is on there. That's really nice to see. I'm sure they'll have
That's a lovely memorial up there in Freedom
festivities,
Park.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
or remembrances of that over the weekend.
Yeah, that's cool.
What about you, Bill?
My dad was in World War II. He didn't die in World War II, but he served during that World War II. And my father-in-law built ships in World War II. And so these men, again, they did not die but they certainly served their country, and we honored them at their celebration, at their funerals and things like that, as far from the military standpoint. And of course, I've had countless friends, as Don has, as all of us have, that our families go back generation after generation. I've got my grandfather was in World War I, and I don't know what he did. I just remember picturing him with his hat, looked like Smokey the Bear hat, but it was a special time today, this weekend, for us to honor. It is a special time for us to honor those guys and women. I'm sure many. I had a lady that was in one of my churches where I served. A little tiny lady. She couldn't have been more than 5 feet if she was that, and she drove tanks in World War II. I don't say how she did it. Of course, I don't know anything about tanks, but and big trucks. I just thought that was funny. But I think of her right now. I can't even tell you her name. I can see her. But we all think of people that we need to honor. This is not a Veterans Day weekend. I think that's been pointed out several times. That's wonderful for veterans to thank the Lord for the people that and honor the people that serve. But this is for those who passed on, and we certainly memorialize them. So, when I was a kid, this was called Decoration Day.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'd like to mention we have a local gentleman that comes into the store all the time, Mr. Andy Negra, and he's celebrating his 100th birthday today.
Was he who's on the Methodist Church sign up the
Sure,
road?
I'm sure he was. He's a member there, I believe, and he was at the beach of Normandy, and fought all through the war.
And he went back recently.
He did visit last year. Went back and walked the beach again after
that was
what is it,
very
75
emotional.
years.
He's a remarkable man. I don't know if he's still doing it, but at age 99, he was delivering meals to old people.
I was walking down the street in Cleveland the other day, and walking down the sidewalk, and I heard a car go by, and somebody go, "Hey, Don!" And look, and it was Andy, and he had his, he was waving out the window, and driving. I don't know what
drives his car,
where he was going, but he was on a mission.
But we honor those guys, of course. And Andy, probably won't be here another 100 years, but we memorialize him ahead of time at this point, because we certainly honor him and others like him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
We were able to sit here today because of those people that gave their lives. There's no question. I mean, all the sacrifice they did for us, and we have barbecues. They did that so we could have barbecues and lemonade and go to the lake and come to the store, all because of men like that, as the men did in the Civil War just prior to this store being built. Pardon me.
Another special guest we had today, or guests, we had the Sky Chief, which is a local band, friends of all of us, and they came by and played, and when we played with them for a while, and they're great. Trent Allison, Michael Crawford, and Anthony Foreigner.
Just really nice guys.
Really nice guys.
And they were good enough to steal the crowd from Bill's Nickelodeon.
They did. They had the whole crowd dominated there for a long time, but we did manage to catch a few songs of theirs, and we're going to have that in another episode, so we won't spoil that, but we do appreciate them coming by today.
I think they'll be. I feel optimistic that they will be back in the future.
Oh, yeah. He told me Trent's going to try to be here for sure next week, and so I look forward to them being here.
Well, Bill, how's your day been? How's your week been?
It's been extremely busy here at the store. I mean, we've it's been nonstop. Like I said, I couldn't even get over there to play most of the time.
I saw you try to sneak out with your guitar one time, and then 2 cars pulled up. And you
I
just
turned
had
around,
to
came back.
Go back
And
inside.
I tried to pour some cider with my guitar on, and that didn't work. It got in the way, and I was afraid I was going to pour it all over the place. But yeah, I tell you something else. This was funny today. People are beginning to get really interested in this apple cider vinegar we have with elderberry and cherry and tart cherry and anyway, it's an elixir. It's got turmeric in it. It's for health. And I ran to get another. Ran out of the. We serve it in a mixture. I think 4-to-1 or something like that in club soda. And the fizz got out of one of them. It was getting kind of stale, so I went and got a new one. And I opened it up for a lady. It fizzed out all over the place. Got on her, got on me, got in front of my shirt, and I didn't think about it. I mean, I probably ran back with it from the cooler. It was shaking it up and didn't realize what I was doing. So she had a good laugh out of it. I'm glad she laughed instead of getting mad.
I've kind of noticed something within my age group over the past few years, because you mentioned the apple cider vinegar. My little sister was telling me that her and her friends are starting to get more into those natural
right.
remedies, from I guess the olden days or whatever. And I don't know, I think there's just something in the air, because not only my sister, but I know a couple of people that I went to high school with that are really kind of getting into that sort of thing, and I guess just kind of getting back into nature in general.
I had a PA come in today and buy some, and she definitely believes in it. And it's got turmeric and goodness, what all's in it? Anyway, a lot of
Good stuff.
healthy things in there, and it's but like I say, we've sold a lot of it. We serve it, like I say, diluted. I personally drink it straight every morning, and which is, you got to have air in your lungs before you do it.
Tell me what the taste is like.
Of course, it's vinegar, but you get past the vinegar, and then you begin to taste all those flavors. That's why I tell customers, even in the diluted form, you really do taste. I taste the cherry, and the grape, and of course the apples. The vinegar goes past you real quick. You haven't tried it yet?
I'm actually curious to try some right now.
Oh, I'm gonna let you try some as soon as we get done here. I'm gonna pull some out for you, or I'll go get some for you now.
I think we should do it on mic.
I wouldn't do it on. Oh, okay.
All right, you want to do it on it? Yeah, let's see. I'll be right back. Y'all can talk to Don while I go get you some.
Don and our producer Ed are going into the shop right now. They're going.
We have to get a waiver.
They're going to pour a couple of shots of apple cider vinegar for me. This should be fun.
You have to sign a waiver before we can do that. I get that.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Bill is back on the stage. He has his SodaStream bottle right there, a dark maroon colored liquid.
That's not just dark liquid. It is, again, this is an interesting experience.
All right.
As I tell folks, get past the vinegar shock to begin it, and then start tasting the flavors.
All right. Now, I watched some wine tasting videos one time on YouTube. Apparently, you're supposed to smell it first.
I'll be careful.
Ooh. All right, folks. I smell the vinegar.
Yeah.
Smell some cherry. All right. Bottoms up. Hey, that cherry really does smooth it out on the back end.
Yeah.
And is that the diluted version?
That's the diluted version,
And
yeah.
you drink straight
I drink
up
it straight.
every day.
Every day, every morning. I get
8
ready.
ounce glass?
I get ready for. No. I drink about probably a couple ounces of it, and it lasts me about 4 to 6 weeks. Sometimes I'll take 2 drinks, because number one, I like it. But I get ready for the day. Go into the refrigerator, open the door, take a swig because I drink it straight, and then I go to either go out to breakfast or make my own breakfast at home, whatever I'm doing.
Now, Don, are you a natural medicine guy? Do you like to drink you a swig of this every
morning?
morning?
I started taking it about a week and a half ago, and it's just not in my routine, so I've forgotten it more than I've remembered to take it. So I've got to, because you do need to put it in the refrigerator after it's open. And I don't normally get in the refrigerator in the mornings, but
You strike me as a coffee in the morning.
that's the first thing I do. If I can't have coffee, my eyes just will
Coffee's
not
number
open.
2 on mine. Yeah. But of course, again, I drink it. It just really just sparks me up. I just like it. It's just I like the flavor of it. I like strong drinks anyway. I'm not an alcohol guy. The old Bob, my son, gave me some Fireball one time.
Oh.
And I've never had my tonsils taken out until then, and now they're gone. You know, 'cause he just gave me a swig of it, and of course he laughed his fool head off when he gave it to me.
Fireball.
You know? And I couldn't quite handle that. But anyway, but this it doesn't do that to you, but it does. But it is pretty stout.
It's certainly an acquired taste, but I think once you acquire the taste,
you don't drink it so much for the taste as much as you do the medicinal standpoint, because it's really good for you. Cholesterol, blood pressure, all that's good for you.
Hey, we're going to take a short break because I think we've got a special guest.
95-year-old Korean.
Okay, he's not a Korean veteran. He's a veteran of Korean War.
That's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
He's Korean, but no.
Well, that'll be easier for us to talk.
Oh, I got a chair.
Yeah, we'll give you the chair.
That's not for execution.
Designed for this chair was designed specifically for Korean veterans.
Okay. Well, that must be me.
That must be you, and here it is, right here,
Okay.
right here. We thank you for being here, man.
Well, to bring it back to Memorial Day, we're up here recording the podcast when it came to our attention that we had a very special guest inside the store, Mr. Robert K. Taylor, a veteran of the Korean War. Robert, thank you for joining, or Mr. Taylor, I should say. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Buster. This is Bill. This is Don, and we just kind of want to chat with you for a little bit.
Okay. You'll forgive me that at this stage of my life, I forget names very fastly. Being I'm up in my 90s.
I think my parents have forgotten my name, so no offense will be taken.
That's totally all right.
So, the Korean-American War, that was early 50s, correct?
Yes.
All right. What year did you go in?
1952.
1952. What base did you start out, or boot camp?
Well, actually,
I'm ignorant.
Yeah. I worked in I was born in this Brooklyn, New York, but I had a friend who was in a National Guard unit in Manhattan, province of New York City. And the idea, oh boy, going to wear a uniform and everything. At that age, it sounded pretty neat. So I went there and signed up to be a member of the National Guard unit. It was the unit was what they called artillery. The 90 millimeter unit was to fire at flying stuff in the air, enemy planes. Yeah. So there was Bob Taylor in that there. And the next thing we know, at 1951, the Korean War started. And to my luck, they activated the unit. And we ended up in the state of where my son lives now, Georgia. And one day, they told me, by then I was a staff sergeant, and they said, Sarge, the first sergeant wants you. This guy that kind of overhauled the sergeants. And I says, all right. I went in there, and he says, Taylor, you've been selected to go to another unit. And somehow, instinctively, gentlemen, in my heart, I knew where pretty much everybody going to another unit was going. And lo and behold, before I knew it, I was on a troop ship, and it was heading to Korea. And I got to Korea, and as I got up there, they assigned me to be part of something in the 2nd Division, which I proudly wear the emblem on my hat. And I was into a small field artillery unit, and my job was to take care of the forward observers, which were second lieutenants that fired on the enemy. First the Koreans, North Koreans, and then on the Chinese. And we to make sure that whatever they needed, my unit of 8 men was to make sure that they had all beside food and water and everything, but that they had the necessary things to use their binoculars to look out at the enemy and commit what they call fire missions. So
What's a fire mission?
it's where he would contact a field artillery unit in the rear. But I couldn't say exactly how far back, but he would tell them exactly where, how high, azimuths and the position, where the gun would have to be up this way, or this way, or this way, like that. And then then the fellows who were part of the gun crew would do a silly thing. They would put a shell in the breech of the artillery unit, and that's what the fire mission. And as far as I remember, those fellows were pretty brave and very accurate, which helped us there. And I was also pretty accurate what I'd done. And at a point in time, I was called to the rear, and there was a major there. I hope I'm not boring you, but
Oh, this is fascinating. Better
he
than my
says,
grandpa's Korean
Sergeant,
story.
I do a good imitation of him. He says, Sergeant, we're sending you home. I said, well, thank you, sir. I said, I've been here a year. Maybe. He says, well, we can't have civilians here. And all of a sudden it entered my mind. Within 3 months, if I was still there, Robert K. Taylor here would have been a civilian. And he said to me, we can't have civilians here. What if you got killed? Oh my, what if I got killed being in action in a war? So anyway, they got me on board another ship going home. And the greatest thing of all, gentlemen, was that there were a lot of us guys on that ship going home. There were some sailors, not sailors, but Marines. And we said it was all right for Marines to be with us. We didn't care. And at a moment in time, it's very important. All of a sudden, we heard on deck, attention on deck, attention on deck. On the left is Vancouver Island. I'm sorry. And on the right is the United States of America. Silence reigned. None of us talked. We just looked and realized that we saw our home again and we were alive. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be so emotional.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. So that's kind of my, I guess, the history of Robert K. Taylor here.
Well, I can't imagine the things that you
I'm
saw
sorry.
and you did in your year over in Korea, and just that overwhelming feeling of being back home.
Yes, it was, I think, emotional for all of us. I don't think there was a single man that had a place on the railing of that troop ship heading to the west coast there that didn't have tears in their eyes. They didn't feel ashamed that, when I was in my in the years when I was a very young boy in the late I was born in the late 20s, in the 30s, and I was in those days. Boys were told, "Boys don't cry." You told that all the time. Don't you cry. If you hurt yourself, you don't cry. Boys don't cry. That was a big lie. We did cry.
That's
we
okay.
did cry. And I let my son, years later, when he came into the world, I let him know that little boys cry. Yeah. Sorry to be so emotional.
It's okay. On a lighter note, as a gentleman from Brooklyn, what was a bigger culture shock, the state of Georgia or the country of Korea?
Say it again, sir.
As a gentleman from Brooklyn,
Yes.
what was a bigger culture shock, the state of Georgia or the country of Korea?
Oh, I think the country of Korea. Yeah, that as an American and knowing what we had as Americans, to see how they were treated out there. I was asked about it, and I said, you have to understand, where I was, there were no ladies of the night. They thought, well, maybe all us GIs up there on the front line maybe had time to play kitty cat with a call girl. They were way in the rear where there was no shelling, no death, and you don't have to worry about it.
I like that phrase, playing kitty cat.
Yeah, I mean, I think, sir, is you had to remember the call girls were not the adults maybe here in the United States. These girls that were put out there to be call girls,
They
I'll
were
bet
girls.
if they were 13 or 14 years old, they were old. But their families were starving. So they sent out the oldest daughter, and if the oldest daughter was 13 or 14, they went out to earn money so that at least the family would have something that they wouldn't starve. That's how bad it was for the Korean people over there. Yeah, it was. I mean, if it was no picnic for us GIs, it certainly was no picnic for the civilians who lived there, sir. Yeah.
Mr. Taylor, I really want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your
Yeah.
busy day to just chat with us. And
Yeah.
thank you for everything that you've done for this country. We wouldn't be doing this stuff what that we're doing now without gentlemen like you.
Well, I guess my greatest thing was there was this young woman when I got back, and she wrote to me almost every day. My wife was 5 years younger than me, which is kind of unusual, maybe. I don't know. Right now, she's with the Angels. She got brought by a friend of mine to New Jersey. It's called a place called the Repo Depot. It's where they discharge soldiers coming out. Your term of enlistment is over, and you're a free man again, and you can go home. Except that they discharged me in New Jersey, and how was I going to get to Brooklyn, New York? You know, but one fella had a car there. I don't know how, but he said, "I'll take you into Manhattan." And I said, "If you take me into Manhattan, I know Manhattan. I worked there in Manhattan, and I'm sure the subways are still running. I can get myself into Brooklyn." So, unfortunately, there was a taxi cab driver. One of these strange things. He said, because naturally I was in uniform, and he says, "Were you over there?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "I just come back." One of these things that never got written up for somebody. Get in my car, taxi cab, and he drove me all the way from Manhattan to Brooklyn, New York, to where I would have lived with my parents, who were still alive at the time. It should have been a story of emotion, how a GI coming back from war and death and destruction, and one kind taxi, because they used to get knocked around for things that, you know, they try to get extra money out of a passenger and so forth. But he saw me, and he told me to get in his cab. And he asked what my address was, and I told him in Brooklyn, and he took me there. And he almost didn't want to take the dollars I had from discharge. But I said, you better take it. I will go back to work and earn a living again. Because I'm home. Because I'm home.
Wow.
I don't know if there's any other emotional thing I could say.
You've said all that you have to.
I hope so. And let people know the emotional strain that it takes on a young man to all of a sudden work in New York City, and then you're looking to try to kill people because you got that weapon in your hand. And if you don't kill them, they're trying to kill you. So, but here I am, just about ready to be 95 years old, and a lot of it still will never leave me, I guess. And it must be my Scottish blood that I end up. My daughter, who I live with now because of the death of my wife, Dad. And I told her one time, she got mad at me. I said, maybe your blood isn't of Scottish heritage, because you're telling me not to be emotional. And Scots are emotional, good, bad, or indifferent. Or as I said to people, when people say, my people drive on the wrong side of the road and they talk funny. So, and then they say, oh, when did you come over? I said, I'm an American like you, just my ancestry come over and talk funny. And I didn't know exactly what time. It was in the 1800s that they did come over the first time, but that's sorry.
It's okay.
It's wonderful.
I shouldn't say I'm sorry, because as I was told by a good man, if you cry for your emotions and don't excuse yourself. And I wouldn't excuse myself. Okay, I don't know what else I could say to you, gentlemen. But I thank you for letting me come and talk to this group here, because I can see that you are listening to me. And that's important, that you listen to me. And I thank you for that.
Sergeant Taylor, you don't know what an honor it is for you to come and visit us today, particularly on this Memorial Day weekend. And we hope you'll come back and visit us again anytime you can. And thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
God bless you, man.
Wow, Bill, what a day, what a show. All the guests.
This has been wonderful.
It's been wonderful. Buster, thank you
Thank
for,
y'all for
being
having
here
me.
again today, and take us out of here, Buster.
Just another lovely Saturday afternoon on the front porch. We'll be back next week with more shenanigans up here at the Old Salty Store. Talk to you then.